In today's episode of the podcast, we're talking about hats. I'm on a big hat knitting kick right now, and I'm on a really big mosaic knitting kick as well. And I want to share a website with you for generating your own mosaic knitting patterns that I think you're going to love. So, if that sounds like just your cup of coffee, get comfy and let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wool Needles Hands podcast. My name is Taylor, and I will be your host. I'm coming at you today with a video about all the hats I have been making and am currently making right now because I'm on a big hat kick. I am working on hats, and I am working on my fleece sweater. My fleece sweater is just taking me some time, and so the hats are just kind of a cozy, fun project that I'm really enjoying working on right now. And I wanted to share with you a couple that I have finished, share with you a pattern for one of these hats that will be released by the time that this video goes live. And then I also, like I said, want to share with you a website that I discovered as a great place to go to generate your own mosaic knitting charts. And then I also want to share with you another little hat crown that I have casted on because I'm loving the yarn combination right now. But that's pretty much it. Something super mellow, super chill. We are just coming out of the Thanksgiving holiday break. It is Tuesday. Yesterday was the first day back to school for my kids since the holiday break, and we're just kind of getting ourselves back in gear. My youngest son was pretty sick over he just had a really bad cold over the Thanksgiving holiday, and I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that I'm not getting that as well, because I'm starting to feel a little bit of that congestion, as you do after your kid gets sick, and we're kind of in cold season, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But all things are good. I'm taking my vitamins, drinking lots of water, and things are good. Today, I've got a real fancy cup of coffee. I made myself a little bit of a latte. We have this like real small espresso machine. It's something real, budget friendly, small little espresso machine, and it does a pretty good job with lattes. I like an oat milk latte, not because I'm dairy free, but just because I prefer oat milk in my coffee. And I don't know if can you see like how lovely that looks? Just nice and warm and delicious. Yeah, and it tastes really good too. I feel like I did a pretty good job. Okay, that's neither here nor there. We are ready to get started. Okay, where do I want to start first? I want to share with you some of these hats. I want to talk to you a little bit about why I'm on a big hat kick. Primarily because I love hats, especially because I feel like I talked about this. I don't know if I talked about it here on the podcast or over on Patreon, but now that my hair is longer, I really enjoy wearing like beanie toque style hats a lot more. And I've always enjoyed knitting hats because I love wearing hats. And so I've been on this like hat kick. I also am obsessed with knitting hats from the top down. And in fact, I don't know where my Barbara Walker book is, but this book right here, Knitting from the Top by Barbara Walker, she has a whole kind of formula for knitting all kinds of things from the top down and seamlessly, but she has one for hats as well too. And ever since I discovered that, I've kind of just been on this whole knit hats from the top down. It feels like it flies off the needles kick. I feel like I'm really all about small, cozy knitting projects right now as we go into winter. So there's that. Okay, so that's kind of what I've been up to lately. And this is one that I don't think I have shared here on the channel yet, but this is a hat that I recently finished for the knit along that I designed myself. I have I knit this from the top down, and I'll be damned if it doesn't resemble the KOA Campgrounds logo. Like, doesn't that kind of look like the KOA Campgrounds logo? It really does. I love it. This is an Aran weight hat. It's a heavy worsted Aran weight yarn, gorgeous mosaic motif, and a really nice tightly knit 1x1 brim down here with a tubular bind off. Can you see how lovely, and what is my camera even focusing on? Yeah, how lovely that tubular bind off is. I'm calling this the Campgrounds hat. It is a pleasure to knit. It flies off the needles. I knit this in like a day and change. I think it was like I started at the evening of this day and the following day I finished it. It's so fast. The mosaic motif is so much fun to knit. The nice tight ribbing down at the brim just gives it a real nice tidy look, and I'm obsessed. So this is called the Campgrounds hat. This is the hat that I have written up into a pattern, and it is available over on Ravelry right now if you'd like to check it out. I've linked to it down below. It's available there if you're interested and you would like to knit your own. Once I finished this one, I wanted to knit one for my husband. So now, I don't know why, sometimes, okay, I knit this one for myself, and this is a picture of it on me. Okay, you can see it on me here. It fits beautifully. This is a 98 stitch hat. I want you to just, I don't know where the logic is and what I'm about to share with you. Okay, this is a 98 stitch hat, meaning that the widest point of the hat is 98 stitches, and it's with an Aran weight yarn, and it's intended to fit my head, which is 21.5 inches, and it fits my head like what you see here. Well, I started knitting this one for my husband. Now he's worn it a bunch of times. So I started knitting this one for my husband. I came up with another motif. I really just love this central diamond situation here, but I came up with this little part right here because it looks like buildings. I don't know. I just thought it looked really cool. So I knit this one for my husband, but some kind of weird lapse in judgment happened to me because I thought, you know, I don't want it to be too big. I want to make sure that it fits like his other hats fit. So I'm going to make this an 88 stitch hat with essentially the same weight of yarn. I don't know what happened there, but there was something that disconnected because this obviously doesn't fit him the way that this hat fits me. And you think that it would, well, you think that I would want that, but I knit this with fewer stitches, 10 to be exact. I don't know what was going on. But anyway, it fits him, but it fits him much more like a watch cap. So it sits right over his head, pretty snug. It's not too tight, it fits nicely, but it doesn't have any kind of a slouch. It doesn't fit like a toque, it fits more like a beanie. And he likes it. He really likes it. So that's his. And this was knit from the top down. Similar needle sizes, similar kind of just situation altogether, but it's not as tall and it's obviously not as big. But I'm obsessed with knitting mosaic charts right now. My camera is trying to focus on like something right here. I don't understand, but that is that. I love it. I think it's fun to knit these hats. I think that knitting a hat, I don't know why knitting a hat from the top down feels like it's faster, but it really does feel faster. And I got my start knitting hats from the top down with this number here. It's just a plain beanie with a 1-inch brim. So this kind of got me started with knitting hats from the top down. And yeah, like I said, I'm obsessed. I'm also currently working on this one. So this is a crown. I've only gotten the crown and I'm starting to work on some of the body of the hat, but you can see that we have a crown here. And how gorgeous is this yarn combination? So this is half from my stash and half a skein that I pilfered from my recent shop update. So I have been dyeing, for Fiber for the People yarn, I've been dyeing solid colorway collections for a very long time now. And I kind of went away from dyeing my variegated speckled colorways just because I was feeling something a little bit different. But it just hit me over the last couple of weeks that I needed more of those like punchy variegated colors, ones that I really enjoy knitting with. And one in particular that I do really enjoy knitting with is a colorway called Jupiter. This is it here. It is a real dark black. It almost has like a navy look, but it's black. The navy kind of comes from maybe the other colors blending into the black, but it's a black mostly all over with this interesting section of real serious variegated color and speckles. And I'm obsessed with this and I wanted to bring this back to the shop and I did and I love it. And I stole a skein of the mohair in the Jupiter colorway because I wanted to knit something with it. And that's exactly what I'm doing. This, by the way, this colorway is coming back to the Fiber for the People shop in the next shop update. I will let you know the date of that actual shop update. I am shooting for either the 14th or the 21st. And maybe somewhere in between. I'm not 100% sure, but it's going to be one or the other or somewhere in between. Sign up for the Fiber for the People newsletter if you want to know anything about Fiber for the People shop updates. That's where I send out all of the information about shop updates ahead of time. I don't post anything on Instagram ahead of time. So if you want to be able to make the shop update, you need to sign up for the newsletter. It's down below in the description box. All that information is there. But I couldn't help myself. I had to pilfer a skein of the mohair. This yarn here is fantastic. It's an 80% fine merino untreated yarn and 20% kid mohair, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There's no halo. It's just a real nice, why am I so close to you? It's just a real nice structure, kind of toothy yarn, and it's gorgeous. Okay, enough of that. What did I do with that yarn that I pilfered? Well, this is what I did. I paired the Jupiter mohair, like what you're seeing here, with this skein from my stash from a long time ago. This is just a one-of-a-kind colorway that I dyed on this. I want to say it's gold stellina in here. It's a base that I used to carry a long time ago, and it has some stellina, some superwash merino, and probably some nylon. I don't really know, but it's really fun. I pulled this cake out of my stash, pairing it with this bad boy here. A lot of dark, moody colors. And what do you get when you do that? Bam. How stinking gorgeous is this? Isn't that beautiful? I'm crazy about it. So that is what I'm working on right now. And it's floofy and soft, and I'm going to make this pretty much the same as what I have here, except I want to incorporate a Latvian braid like you see here at the base. So it'll be an all over hat like this in terms of the color with a Latvian braid, and that Latvian braid I'm thinking is going to be with these two paired together in contrast with what I have here. So it'll be the hat with this fabric. I feel like I'm holding so many things. And then a little Latvian braid that pairs this color and this gold color together. I have a vision. I think it's going to be beautiful. I feel like I just started this. I'm telling you, it flies. And I'm knitting this with essentially heavy sport weight yarn on a size 5. And it's still just absolutely flies off the needles when you're knitting it top down. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you, but I'm crazy about it. Okay, so the thing that got me into mosaic knitting to begin with was actually my Mexican blanket project. So you might remember this. Several episodes ago, I shared with you my finished Mexican blanket. How cozy is this? Okay. If you're using it as just like a lap blanket, it's very generous. Now, this motif that you see here, I just absolutely love it. I love the diamond shape. I love the little cross in the middle. I love the whole vibe. And it kind of inspired the motifs essentially that I'm using in these other patterns here that I've kind of tweaked to fit my stitch count and also just to add a little bit more detail and what have you. I fell in love with mosaic knitting just because it is so much fun to do. The color comes across really beautifully. It has kind of a 3-dimensional look to it, and I really love it. If you would like to see me demonstrate how to do mosaic knitting and what that looks like, head over to the Patreon. I have a video for that, and I actually show you on my Mexican blanket. And then I have a whole video as part of the Crown Down Hat Cowl where I talk about how to read a mosaic knitting chart and all of that. So definitely head over to the Patreon. There's lots of good stuff over there and information and lots of things to learn. Well, in the process of coming up with all of that and figuring out mosaic knitting patterns and charts, I discovered a website, and I don't know if I want to make sure I say it correctly because it has kind of a, okay, I'm actually going to pull it up here. It is paikin.org/mosaic-knit/, and it says create your own mosaic knitting patterns by Scott Paikin. I discovered this website. It's a way that you can essentially generate your own mosaic knitting patterns. It gives you information on how a mosaic knitting pattern works, things that can be validated to be, things that make a valid mosaic knitting pattern and things that would be erroneous or that wouldn't work with mosaic knitting. It gives you that information. It's really very cool. You can see here it gives you an opportunity for a stitches per pattern repeat. Maybe if you know you're working with a multiple of 12, you can put in a 12 stitch repeat. Maybe we have 34 rounds of knitting that you need to do. It talks about what a passive color 4 run is on this. Click OK. Click OK, and then you can actually generate your chart here. You can give a title. And then you can just start going. You can start building out a chart and seeing how it works and if what you're creating is going to be a valid mosaic chart. I'm just going to kind of mess around here really quick to give you a little bit of an idea of what that would look like. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just really kind of doing this. Oops, not that. Let's just see. Okay, so obviously I haven't, that looks like a face. I just made a face, like a big nose, some 2 eyes and a mouth. Wow. Now, if this were my pattern, there's all these different buttons down here that you can use to help. You can check and see if you can validate that. This is obviously not a valid mosaic knitting pattern, and it tells me right here, 9 invalid runs were found. I click OK, and it highlights, like, obviously this is wrong. And it highlights all the areas where you have a problem with your pattern. You can clear the errors. You can have it give you a random pattern. And this is what's really fun about this is you can click on random and then you can click on make symmetric and it will create a symmetric pattern. That's really cool. And then if you see something you like, you can go over here to view tiled. And this gives you an idea of what it looks like there. And then you can also click on, let's see if I can't do mosaic. Wait, mosaic tiling requires an even number of stripes. This pattern has 17. Okay. That's really cool. So this gives you an idea of what that would look like as a band of color. That's really neat. And I really like that. And so if I really like that, I can simply share it. It gives me a URL right here. Copy, open a new window, paste, and that shows me my pattern. Because I'm going to tell you right now, coming up with a mosaic knitting chart is not a walk in the park. It takes a little while to understand how to do it and how to make it work for you, because there are lots of rules you have to follow because of the way mosaic knitting works. And so this is fun because it helps to tell you, okay, that doesn't work and it doesn't work because of this. And then you have to go and adjust it. So you're learning a lot about the process of mosaic knitting. And I think that's really awesome. I love this so much. You can start over. It gives you all of this information down here about how to read a chart. I dive into this more over on Patreon. Again, deeper dives, all kinds of things, additional content, head over there if you're interested. But check this out. I'm sending you off with some homework, okay? Go check this out. Play with it if you're interested in this kind of thing. See what you can come up with. I mean, in the very least, just have fun randomizing and symmetricizing your charts, okay? Because that's totally fun. Because I really love when you can have a nice band of mosaic knitting, whether it's the yoke of a sweater or around the body of a hat, anything like that. So what this is doing is kind of just giving you opportunities for bands of, bands of color. I want to see what that looks like. That reminds me of ladybugs. I don't know what that makes me think of. How cool. How cool is this, you guys? I had to share that with you. I think it's a lot of fun. This is going to be also part of a video that I have coming up about websites every knitter should know about. I made a video like this about 9-10 months ago. And I really love sharing with you guys websites that you can use to be a more independent knitter, a more improvisational knitter, somebody who can really take the reins when it comes to their knitting. I love finding websites that provide you with scaffolding and assistance to do that. I talk about this all the time. Being in the driver's seat of your own knitting is really liberating and powerful so that you don't feel so tied to a knitting pattern. Or if you really love a knitting pattern, but you want to add your own spin on it, different websites and things like that, kind of like this one here, that can help you do that. And so that's a video that's coming up later this week. This is going to be a 2-video week because last week was a holiday and I was a little delayed getting this video out. So definitely check for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this or took something away from this. Play with this website. Let me know down in the comments how it goes. And better yet, if you head over to this website and play and really enjoy the process and you end up making some mosaic charts that you think are really worth sharing and you would like to share them, drop the links down in the comment section so we can go check out your chart. However, this is a great opportunity to get the jump on maybe coming up with your own pattern for a hat or maybe a sock or something that incorporates a mosaic knitting chart. I mean, have fun with it. And if that is the case, maybe don't share it yet. Come up with a pattern and you could publish your own pattern with a really fun and unique mosaic chart attached to it. And I think that's awesome. All right, that is it for me today, guys. I hope you are doing well. If you celebrated Thanksgiving, I hope you had a great one with people that you care about and all of those good things. I will see you in the next one. I'm excited for the next video. In the meantime, happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye.